adding another piece of coaxial cable inside the wall from the box, a new box, cut-in box up there. We'll have to take that one out. And I can show you all that. If I end up doing that, there's probably going to be a fire block here, and you'll be wondering, hey Joe, how on earth are you going to come from here, taking that box out and drilling and getting it through this fire block? Usually these walls are 10 feet tall, so they'll probably have a fire block up at 5 feet. Is my guess, or they might have one at 4 and 8, whatever. But I'm thinking maybe at 5 feet. So there's probably a fire block, boom, right in here. You can take a stud finder and you can probably run that sideways up and down, see if there's a block there. Chances are there's going to be a block because that's an exterior wall. Usually they have fire blocks in those exterior walls. And if they do, it's like, how am I going to get the coaxial cable from there down to here without cutting the sheetrock open? Because I'm not going to cut the sheetrock open. I'll show you all that if I end up moving that. The other thing is, we could decide maybe for the time being we have a cabinet right here. We'll put the TV on top of that, and then only until I get a bracket and hang the TV on the wall. If I hang the TV on the wall, there's no way I'm going to hang it that high, I don't think. You know, that remains to be seen. It could go that high. If it was that high, those will fit behind the TV that I hang on the wall. Okay? So then I can do away with those. You don't have to see them when you come in this room, and you won't see coaxial cables or anything like that. If I hung the TV lower than that, worst case, you're going to see the plug up above the TV, just peeking up yay far, and plug it in there. The same thing with the coaxial cable. We'll see. You know, years ago, you never hung TVs on the walls, and then little by little, people started hanging them on the walls, and then you just got used to looking up a little bit watching your TV. So that's the other reason I decided I don't want to put these plugs down here on the floor until we make all these decisions. Because if we end up deciding to hang the TV on the wall, we might want to bring this furniture and bring it back away from the TV a little bit further, so we're not up too close looking up high or whatever. The further back you can get, the better off you are looking at the TV, especially if we put a big old huge TV right there. You know what I mean? And if I do that, it might affect the location of my electrical outlets I'm going to put in here. So I'm thinking out loud as I go on what all I'm going to have to do down here. Now see, there's a ceiling fan here. It's way up high. There's no light on it, and they decided not to put a light kit on there because they have all these eyeballs, can lights on the side. Now these can lights are controlled by one of these switches here, and I'm not sure which one. Oh, there it is. It's that one right there. And see, you just have to look at this light at night on what you want, and I might decide to put, you know, LEDs in here or compact fluorescence in here, another type of flood light. I think you can get a flood bulb, an LED style flood bulb nowadays. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to have to look into that, make a decision. And on some of these, on another place, there was a light switch that had a dimmer switch on the side that you could dim these lights, which would look kind of cool in here at night. You know, turning this on, and that would be as simple as taking this out, putting a dimmer switch right here. It could be the same type of paddle up and down, and it could have a little dimmer switch on here where you push that down with your finger. I mean, there's different types of dimmers, and I might do that, but if I decided to do that before that, and if I decided, see, everything's a thought process. If I decide to put LEDs in here, and if I can get a flood style light bulb that's an LED, then you have to get the LED style floods that are dimmable. I think they make them both ways, non-dimmable and dimmable light bulbs. So especially if you want to dim it, I'm going to have to make sure that the bulbs that I get are dimmable. Does that make sense? And you see the trim around there, around that can? That's a can bulb trim. That trim you can take out. See this one here? See, they're white, aren't they? How nice and white they are. You look at these. There's another white one. And they're all white. But you come over here, and they're off-white. You see this? You can see right away. That's not the same color, is it? See, you look over here. you got the white one. Okay? The trim is white. This one's kind of yellowish. This is the off-white, or they could call it Navajo. You look at this one, this one's off-white too. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to replace. I could live with that, but you know, I'm the type, because I was a contractor, I look at stuff. Those don't match everything else. So I could take those two trims out. And I looked up in the kitchen, son of a gun. In the kitchen, there's two white ones, and all the rest of the ones in the kitchen are these yellowish off-white ones. This kind of off-white or Navajo, whatever they call it. And so I could take, the thought is I could take this trim, undo the screw, undo the light bulb, and you can take that down. I'll show you how to do that too. Of course, I'll make videos of that. You can take these trims down, and then I can replace them, put them up in the kitchen. I mentioned that to Mommy, and of course, what do you think she told me? Well, I like the white ones. I want all of them to be white. Now see, these are speakers. And there's a speaker there, and there's a speaker over here, and those were controlled. Those speakers are controlled by the sound system that's upstairs. I thought that was pretty cool. They did that when they built the house. Now see how that white is different than that white. But when you go to the store, when you get white, usually it's that color right there. Okay? So, and all the trims are that color. But when I talked to Mommy and I told her my trick, what I was going to do, I was so proud of it that I was going to take these off-white ones and put them upstairs. You know what she told me? And I showed her in the kitchen that they're all yellowish. She told me she wants all of the ones in the kitchen to be white. So what I'm going to end up doing probably is I'll take a count of all the off-white ones in the house. And I think at the store, like at Home Depot or Lowe's or any kind of store like that, you know, a big home improvement store, I'm going to see, and I'll take one of these with me, because you don't want to just measure this. It's always wise to take something with you. That's a #1 pet peeve of mine. If that's the only thing you've learned on this video, you've learned a lot. Believe me, because lots of times you go to the store, oh yeah, I know what needs to be done. I don't have to measure that. And you get there and you think, oh, oops, what is it, 5-inch, or is it 6-inch, or is it 7-inch? And does it hook the same way? And is the trim as tall? And blah, blah, blah. You take these with you. Just all you have to do is take one. So take one, match them all up, and then I'll probably end up having to replace maybe 10 of those throughout the house, 15 of those throughout the house. Okay, that's something I'm going to have to do. And I already saw that all the ceilings are 10 foot, and I don't want to get just a 6-foot ladder at the store. When I get a ladder, I'm going to get an 8-foot ladder. I'm going to get a fiberglass ladder. I'm not going to get an aluminum ladder. Please do not get an aluminum ladder. There's another tip from Joe. You get the fiberglass ladders. They're so much more sturdy. Okay, they may cost you a few dollars more. Sorry about that, but they're sturdier. See this one here? Look, this one's off-white, isn't it? You come out here in this room right here, and they're white. So you look around. If you see that, look in your house. And see, if she didn't want me to do anything up front in the kitchen, I would change those two and put those in the kitchen. And I'd take those white ones in the kitchen and put them down here. And then I would look somewhere else. If you have one or two that don't match, put them in a little hallway like this. If this was the only off-white one in the house, let's say I had an off-white one here, I'd take that off-white one, change it with this one. If this one was white, I would take that one and put over here. And this all alone little nook, I would put the off-white one there. I'd put the non-matching one there. I'd do something like that, okay? Let's see. Here's a door that rubs right up there. You see that? It's rubbing. See? And you hear that? It's rubbing up there. That's one of the things I got to fix. You look down here. Look at this gap. It's almost touching. It's not touching, but it almost is. Okay? And that's weird. See down here? Look at the gap down here. It's a nice gap. That's about the gap you want. Okay? And so it's tight. It's tight right in there. And right up there, you see the gap between the doors. There's hardly anything. And in fact, when I open that door, it rubs. And I've got to fix that before the painters come. And I look up there at the top, and I look at the gap right there at the very top edge. Okay, the top edge. And I look in the middle. See, the gap is a little bit bigger right there, isn't it? And I follow it over here, and the gap goes up, down somewhat. So I know these doors are sagging in the middle, but they're still, both of them are still lined up. See the top edge of the doors? The right one is up barely, just barely, 16th, not even 16th, 32nd higher than the left one. But I know I can raise the one on the right up about a 16th. I know I can raise this one about 3/32, which is a little bit more than a 16th. Okay, up that way, right? And so I'm gonna have to look at that and make some sort of decisions. And I see that I got a plenty room gap right there that I can suck that hinge over. And I'll show you how to do that. You just keep watching my videos. I've showed you before. You see the gap? See how big the gap is right there? You still got a nice gap there, don't you? So I know I can suck this door over that way because there's plenty of room there. So that'll tilt this door up. It will raise it up, and then I can do that same thing with this left-hand door. It'll raise that just up a little bit. I don't need a whole lot. I only need a little bit of a gap between these doors, and voila, I get those two doors fixed. Okay, so that's how I'm going to take care of that. And I think there was an issue with one of these other doors. No, this door looks good. See that? That door's good. But I'm gonna look at all the doors. But I did notice one. Where was it? Oh, I think it's over here. It's over here. Now this door here, when I close the door, it is closing. When I open it, I can see that the latch is barely sticking out. See, when you hit that, the latch should actually be flush, and it's not. I don't know why it doesn't go in any further. And that's hitting the latch, the strike plate. And you see, even if it didn't, see how tight the door is to the door jamb? There's hardly any room there. Look at that. I mean, it's just barely enough so when they paint it, it still wouldn't rub. But I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, how can I make that better? And when I look over here on this side, there's a little bit of a gap, and there's a little bit more of a gap up there. And see, there's enough gap to where I can suck these hinges over just a little bit, all of them, by the way. That'll take this door and push it over to the left just a little bit. Do you follow me? And I can make it a little bit, and I can move it over a little bit because I still have a gap there. Had I not had a gap at the bottom, sometimes you get a door, as it closes, you'll see that the edge of your door right here maybe is tight to the door jamb. You think, well, how am I going to be able to suck the hinge over if the door at the bottom can't go over any further? And I certainly don't want to whack the door jamb over and mash it all up, put a screw in there and push it in, redo the caulking here, because, you know, this trim casing is not going to move over because that bottom trim, you know, is can't move over. So there's no way I can do any of that. So then maybe you can't do it, okay, for the baseboard. So with this, I know that can be moved over. So I have two choices. I can take the hinge, and I've shown you this before, but you could take the hinge off. So I used to sometimes just put a galvanized 8 right there, and maybe one there, hit those in there, find a stud back there, tap them in there, caulk over that. But then you see the head. I don't want to do that.